Hello, my name is Andrew Hunter-Murray. I am the author of The Last Day, which is out now. The Last Day is a thriller set in a world whose rotation has ground to a halt 30 years ago due to a catastrophe in the heavens. Today, half the world faces inwards towards the sun constantly, half faces outwards towards the cold, dead universe. Life in the warm side has changed dramatically. Britain has cut itself off from its nearest neighbours in an attempt to survive. The story begins in the frosty Atlantic with our hero, the scientist, Dr. Ellen Hopper. She's an oceanographer who thought she had left Britain behind. She is summoned back to a decaying London to see a man she thought she would never see again, and he has something to tell her as the story begins, something that could have a bearing on the future of the entire human race. And we go from there. So, I'm here to talk about a few of the books that inspired me while writing The Last Day. The first of those is this one. It is The Children of Men by P.D. James. This is an absolutely fabulous novel. It's set in the year 2021 or thereabouts, and it is set in a world where no children have been born for 25 years. The youngest person on Earth is 25 years old. The planet has started falling apart. There is no solution to this fertility crisis. The novel deals with Theodore Farron. He's the central character. He's a history don at Oxford. And as the story begins, he's basically given up hope. He starts writing a diary, charting his feelings in what he thinks are the final few decades for mankind. Then we discover later on, it may not be. There is this tiny, tiny glimmer of hope on the horizon. And that injects the pace into the story and sets off this extraordinary journey for him. It is a wonderful book. Its depictions of a world winding down are incredibly evocative. I highly recommend it. And the film is also tip-top. My next choice, it's very hard, by the way, picking only three, and I'd just like that to go on the record. My next choice, though, is John Wyndham's The Kraken Wakes. So Wyndham was an absolute master at changing one thing in the world and then following on and seeing what happened next. So in this, it's a very Cold War style story in a way, an allegory anyway. In this book, we see mysterious lights flashing across the sky and plunging into the ocean. They stop after a few years. Everyone thinks, oh, it was a strange phenomenon, and they forget about it. Then, a few years after that, shipping starts disappearing, being pulled down from the ocean. We discover there is something down there. Wyndham is an absolute master at dealing with the suspense of this, but also he's a master at telling a story that runs over a decade. You know, the story stretches out and it's interlaced between the lives of the main characters. He's a very underrated character writer as well, but the plot is also absolutely superb. Highly recommended, especially if you've heard of The Day of the Triffids and you want to go one level deeper into Wyndham World. My final choice is non-fiction, and this is Tim Marshall's Prisoners of Geography. This is a book which, in 10 chapters, explains why global politics work as they do through the medium of each country's particular geography. So you find out why the North European plain is so important to Russia. You find out why China's energy policy works the way it does because of the shape of the Straits of Malacca, through which a huge amount of their oil passes. So it's a very eye-opening book in terms of the way things are. And when I was writing The Last Day, it's a book that is largely about geopolitics. It's about how suddenly the world changes due to a quirk of geography that means human nature must follow in its footsteps. This is a fabulous book. It's incredibly concise, clear, entertaining. I recommend it, again, very highly.